Hello and welcome to Pearl and Plume, a knitting and fiber-loving podcast where I occasionally will talk about my chickens. I'm coming to you from Western Massachusetts. My name is Kelly, also known as Kiki. You can find me on Ravelry at Kiki Carlisle and on Instagram as Kiki Carlisle. Although my Ravelry page isn't that much, and my photography skills on Instagram are, I would like to say they're growing and developing, but they're not. They're just, you know what? I'm gonna stop dissing myself. They're fine. There we go. It's been, I think, about a month since my last podcast, and I've actually had more time than normal, but less capacity between being kind of anxious and also just bewildered and having a house that's pretty much always has people in it. And I like to have a little bit of privacy when I podcast, and I have kind of one room in my house with enough light for that to happen other than my bedroom, and I just really don't want to podcast from my bedroom. So anyway, today is kind of a gray day, and while it is going to be warmer, it is not going to get any sunnier, and this is a pretty low-tech podcast. I'm using a very old laptop with all the Zoom meetings I'm doing to teach right now. I don't know how much longer it's going to last. So I have a little lamp here that's giving me a bit more light, and I'm facing all these windows, but this is the best we're going to do today, and that's fine. I am drinking my coffee. These are my nails. This is the reality here. I tried to paint them. They look better now that it's actually peeling off. Yes, I'm drinking my coffee. I can see the chickens from here, and it's kind of fun. I'll talk more about what's going on with them later in the podcast. I am going to give my mother a shout out. It is her birthday today. She lives down the street from me with my older sister. And my younger sister lives further down the street and a couple streets over. And we are all practicing social distancing. So we celebrated my older sister's birthday, my family did, by dancing on her deck and performing for her. And we have hopes to do that today. And I'm trying to learn a new song on my ukulele, and it is, well, there will be laughs, and that's okay. My mom is amazing. She is, I'm gonna get upset just thinking about how much I love her and how strong she is and how she has always been there for everybody. And while we tease her because she kind of is like a, oh no, what's gonna happen? What's the worst case scenario? Like worry person. When the shit hits the fan, she is like the strongest, most capable person, and you want her there. And she is there. She just is. So like a month and a half ago, I will get to the knitting content very soon, I assure you. A month and a half ago, one of my favorite chickens, who had an illness, not quite a year ago, and just never really totally recovered. Like, she seemed better, but she just, I don't know what was going on with her. She started not looking so well, and I love animals and I want more of them, but it's not really a strength of mine when they get sick. I faint at the sight of blood, and I just I have to work on that. I get really squeamish. My mom, anytime any of my animals or children need help, my mom is just there in a second. And so she came and we gave my chicken a bath. We didn't know what was wrong with her. And nothing from the outside looked wrong. She just was acting poorly. And she we gave her a bath and we kind of checked her over, and she ended up having a seizure in my arms, and I was just so upset. And my mom was right there, sitting on my bathroom floor when my chicken died. And there's not another person that I would have wanted there with me. Anyway, happy birthday, Mom. Okay, on to the knitting content. As you can see, so last episode was about a month ago, I think. And I had finished my Bright Feathers by Jen Steingass. And of course, all I'm wearing now are stretchy pants, t-shirts, and my kids' giant sweatshirts. Not even wearing sweaters that much because it's chilly. It's been an unseasonably cold spring, unfortunately, but I don't know, when you're out taking care of the animals and you're like, then you're gonna exercise, like, I don't know, a beautiful wool sweater. I just haven't been wearing them. So I wore it for the podcast, and then I kind of tucked it away. And but this I've actually worn a few times because I've made myself, because it does cheer me up to wear my hand knits. And this is the Ninnle Chick Swan Show by Boylan Knitworks. And I am going to turn around here. I'm not going to move my laptop because I just don't feel like it. I love this. It's very wearable. I mean, it's not wearable under a coat, let's be honest. You can't, like, there's, you know. But to throw over for a walk on a cool spring day, it's super comfy. And the reason I put this on the needles, because I had seen this, you know, a lot of people have knitted. Her designs are fairly popular. I was never like, oh, that looks like something I'd want to wear. I don't know. It's beautiful. I didn't think it was hideous or ugly. I just wasn't like thinking I'd want to wear it that much. And my sister-in-law, I love you, Kat, made one, and she just looked so beautiful in it. And she's a new mom, and it's perfect for breastfeeding, right? Oh, I'm wearing my overalls underneath. Overalls and a poncho. So I thought it was beautiful, and then I have all these leftover. This is kind of a scrappy episode. I'm showing you what I'm doing with my scraps, because I have something else that's pretty cool that I'm working on. And it's perfect for scraps. And so when you have, like, and I just love color work. It's my favorite thing to do. And nothing else that I was doing was really filling that void. And I just feel like right now especially, I need comfort knitting. But I also need to be distracted, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So anyway, I need to be distracted. Like, that's hard to do. So what's great about a colorwork sweater with all these motifs, because this is a lot of color. Look at that. I mean, you're just doing color work for ages, right? Is you might have just a tiny bit of, like, a light blue. Like, this is what really happened to me. You might just have a little bit of this, and then further down, I have to say the difference in these blues is more, there's more of a difference on this camera right now. Like, in real life, my mom couldn't, I showed her that they were different yarns and she couldn't tell. But everything's a little bit darker. So you can, if you have two small balls of similar colors, but they're spread apart in the color work, go ahead and use them. If you don't want something, I mean, if you don't want it to be too busy and you don't want too many colors, you can still count them as almost the same color. And like I said, it's not the best example here because it does, in real life, it doesn't look that different. Same thing for the whites. So this yarn is different than this yarn. It's the same, these two are the same yarns. This is different. This is a tweed, a creamy tweed. This is more of just, this is just a cream. And then this is a completely different white. I only had so much tweed. I really would have loved if all of the whites were, ooh, it's brightening up outside a little bit. If all of the whites were tweeds, but I only had a small ball of the tweed. This is the one yarn that I bought for the sweater because I didn't have enough of this white to do all of the white. So I started off here, did the tweed here, and actually the tweed was a lighter weight yarn, and I held it double with a lighter weight cream yarn. So this is just like, kind of like for refrigerator soup, but a sweater. And then I bought some yarn for the cream on the bottom from a local yarn shop who was doing curbside pickup. Thank God. Love you. Sheep and Shawl in South Deerfield. And it's just the most wonderful little, I'm blessed. I have some great yarn shops nearby. And I just wanted to support her anyway. Should probably go buy some more yarn there soon. So this was all bits of yarn that I just, except for this purple, I'll tell you about that in a second, that I just had. And then I did buy some yarn to finish it because I was like, oh my God, I love this sweater so much. I didn't have enough cream yarn, and I wanted cream as a break, a visual break from the rest of the sweater. I didn't want this to be stripes. The purple is fingering weight held double. This is supposed to be DK. I honestly don't know what some of the weight yarn I used was. It's probably mostly DK, but this, like, I don't know. The brown's definitely DK. The cream might have been a light worsted. You know, I'm gonna hand wash it. Some of it's superwash, some of it's not. So, anyway, I really love it. I followed the pattern. I made a couple mistakes and had, like, my numbers were off at some point. I just fudged it and, like, added some or subtracted some. I don't know. But I pretty much just made the small and followed it. I will say I did knit longer for the sleeves, and they're pretty long, but I like them long. I can roll them up. They're longer than I thought they were, and I think that's because when I blocked it, and here's a little tip, when I blocked it, it relaxed quite a bit, even though most of this is not superwash. I think this is, the purple is superwash, everything else is just not superwash. So it relaxed, which brought everything down a bit. This was so much fun because I love color work, and it was just like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? I didn't even have a full plan. I didn't follow her chart plan for the colors. I kind of was like, how much do I have of this next color? What should happen next in the pattern? When I did all this purple and blue here, I was a little worried that it was going to look like Barbie's dream house. But then, so then I added brown and cream to kind of bring it down to earth, and then the green. And I felt like I could go back to the purple and blue down here. Especially since this blue is earthier than this. It's kind of a tweedy. I wish I could tell you all the yarns that I used for this. I know that the brown is Brown Sheep Company DK. I love their yarn. I love the colors they have. I believe the blue is also Brown Sheep Company DK. The cream for the sleeves, and this is Green Mountain Spinnery. DK. It's 50% alpaca, 50% wool. It feels like butter in the best way. I am so glad I'm using it for the sleeves because honestly, it's like my arms are being hugged by the most velvety but earthy velvety feeling, and I can't say enough how much I love it, and I'm sorry that I don't have the name of it. I will put it down there. I don't do show notes usually, but I try to add the details to the screen, whatever the hell that's called. If people start wanting show notes and enough people watch this podcast, then I will do show notes. They'd probably be easier than what I do, actually. Anyway, Green Mountain Spinnery, I live in Western Mass. They are close by. And this yarn is dreamy and beautiful and amazing. The purple is Knit Picks. I dyed it myself. It's fingering weight held double. I don't know if it is Stroll or Hawthorne or what. I I like to dye yarn because it's fun, and then I do whatever. Don't know what the blue is. The green is the green is the oldest ball of yarn I own. I think I bought it well before I was a knitter and when I was just doing scarves, and I had it lying around, and it is this really lovely, earthy, tonal green. I don't know what the whites are up here. This white has some, I think, alpaca in it. It's really fuzzy. And the tweed here, again, I held it double with a fingering weight, and I'm not even sure what tweed it is, but I love a tweed. Okay, that is my F up. I finished a pair of socks for my sister. They're called the lockdown socks. And I made 2 pairs of them. One I gave to my sister, one I kept for myself. I made them with some scraps of wool that I had, and my husband put them in the dryer. So now my stepdaughter, who has the tiniest feet ever, thank God, is wearing them. So I gave her another pair of socks. I'm such a good stepmom. And now I can talk about works in progress, because I don't think I have any more FOs. Although, you know what? Maybe I will call my hand-dyed yarn FO. It's not really, well, it's finished for yarn. So I dyed yarn a while back, actually before my last episode, and I hadn't shown it. A bunch of it I shipped off to my sister-in-law because this was yarn for her birthday. And, but I dyed her some, she loves greens and reds, like not primary green and primary red necessarily, but like tertiary greens and reds. Does that make sense? And I kept some of the greens because I wanted some fun greens for myself. So this is a minty skein, and you can see there's like little bits of white in there, and it's darker. It's a very tonal, no speckles in this, just a tonal minty green, and it is not showing up as green. It looks more aqua on the camera. Oh honey, it is like a very minty green, and I called it Nana Kitty's Kitchen. Yes, I like to name my yarn, even though I don't sell it, because it reminds me of my grandmother. She was very into that like 1950s green, and this looks a lot like that, is it called milk glass? That's like that minty green color. This green that's just so popular during the 50s. She had trim in her kitchen and in her house and everything. I think it was her favorite color. Was like, it was a little darker than the mint green, but maybe like that color. And just made me think of her. It's a very happy color to me, mint green is. So that, and then I made this deep, dark, foresty green. It's got some golden, earthy, brown shades in here. Speckles. This is speckles. And then it's got some almost minty bits. And then this dark, piney bits in it. And I call this Mermaid Miro for my niece Miro. And I think I might be using this to make a baby sweater for somebody. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, I like the earthy speckles in there. And it does kind of look mermaidy to me. So these, I don't know what I'm doing with them in, but I love fingering weight sweaters with color work, so I think that could happen. And the green, like I said, it might end up being a baby sweater. There's this free pattern on Ravelry, and I can't think of the name of it. It has something to do with the spine, and it's a newborn sweater, and it's free. And it's basically an open front cardigan. So you can do skin to skin, and their back is warm, which I think is a cute idea. Okay, so that is that. I think I talked about these socks last time. I'm not even going to bring it up because I haven't done any work on them. My poor sister. I don't know when she'll get them. Sorry, Amy. I'm not enjoying it. So, my other work in progress is my father just called and okay. My other work in progress, actually it's a hoe. It's a half object and it is a pair of shorty socks. Look at these. So cute. Look at that. I haven't woven in all the ends yet, but loving it. Okay, so this is paint box yarns, and the cuff is just some yarn I had lying around in like a charcoal color. The same thing on the heel and toe, but I added some green mohair to make it a little sturdier. It might end up making them too hot. That could be a mistake. I'll let you know. So this is the first finished shorty, and here is the other one. And this pattern is called the Espresso Shorty. I'm gonna go get it, I see it from here. So here's the other one. I'll show you in just a second, the pattern. And what she has you do, so it's an afterthought heel, which I'm gonna just keep making them because they're so much faster until I find something better to do. And then you keep knitting, and actually pretty soon I'm gonna go and do the heel work so that I can then, well, I can actually just compare it to this one, but what she has you do, which is so smart, is she has you put in the afterthought heel, maybe knit just a few more inches, then, I misspoke. She has you put the waist yard in for the afterthought heel, knit a few inches, go back, put in the afterthought heel, and then try it on as you knit the rest to decide when you're going to finish it off. That way you are less likely to make a sock that is too short or too long. So that I'm about to just abandon this part of it and go in and put in the heel, although I can kind of compare it to this sock to actually decide. So I am not trying to match them perfectly because I just don't want to waste any yarn, and I have so much left because they're shorties. So that is cool. And let me get the pattern so I can give her credit. It is a free pattern it's a free pattern. And I love these free sock patterns that are simple. And it has a lot of detail, which is so cool. So, Hypnotic Yarns, Espresso Shot, Shorty Socks. Say that a bunch of times. And it's free. And it's a beautiful pattern. So, awesome. And in the sock spirit, I actually have purchased a couple other sock patterns for when I'm wanting to do something other than a manila sock. I bought Tracy Miller's Sweet and Tartan socks and her Lazy Afternoon socks, which I plan to knit when I feel like it, which is not right now, but it might be soon. So, and these are the lockdown socks I knit last time, another free pattern, and that's for a heavier weight yarn. So that's that. Okay, so socks. These are for me. My first pair of socks for me. No, my second pair, but the first pair was shrunk. Other works in progress. So this next one, I have a mixed feeling about the method of color work, but I like doing different things. And so that's good. I won't do this again, but it is not that it is complicated. It is that it is a little bit sloppy the way you have to do it. So I am talking about the Corellia which is a circular yoke sweater with a flower motif. It is exquisite. It is a design by Midori Hirose. And so many papers here. Let me just get you the sweater. It's living in this basket. I kind of feel like I should be knitting it on a plate, and I'll show you why in a minute. Because this is the situation here. Inside this yoke are 18 balls of yarn. 9 of the green and 9 of the yellow. And as I am knitting around, I am pulling out and putting back in the yarn so that it can wrap around stitches, and it looks like embroidery, but it's not. It is called rusamine, and it is an Estonian color work technique. And it's turning out beautifully, I think. But keeping all those balls organized, I mean, it's a lot of balls. Okay, so here we go. And also the tension, I'm not totally sure about. So this yellow half circle is like the bud, and these green bits are the leaves. And I'm gonna try and pull my light now. Well, that didn't work. So the color is not showing up very well. This is the sweater itself is a very inky blue. And I'm holding it upside down. This is the collar. So let me show you her picture on the pattern. The Corellia. So as you can see, so mine is like that deep inky blue with green and yellow flowers. And hers is like a reddish, and that's maybe a gray, I don't know. I showed you this last time. So I am a little more than halfway done with the color work. I put this down for like a month, because I just wasn't in the mood to embark on the color work, because I was a little intimidated. I'd heard by Girl Meets Yarn, which is a podcast. If you're not watching it, get thee to that podcast. She is hilarious and so lovable, and I love her podcast. So she knit it and was just talking about how the color work part's not hard, it's just a little messy. And I agree. But I just didn't feel, sometimes, you know, you just don't have the energy to start something new and hard or just different. And that's kind of how I was feeling for a long time. And now I just want to get it over with, so I just have the easy stockinette to do. The one issue I have with this is that the fabric it's creating is a little more open than maybe I'm gonna like. It's a fingering weight yarn. She recommends size 8 needles. I'm using size 5, and it is still, because I'm such a loose knitter, it's a little loose. Now it's gonna go faster because I'm using bigger needles. And I believe I've met gauge. Yeah, I did. I did a gauge swatch. It was so close. I think I was actually a little small, like by a fraction. And I just let it go because I didn't want it to be any more loose. That's the Corellia. Did the socks. Next I'm going to show you the other thing I'm working on. I have a couple projects that are kind of hibernating, so I'm not going to bring those up. So I like knitting the most, but I have always really loved the look of a crochet blanket, like granny squares especially. And so my mom many moons ago taught me how to do, like, I guess it's called double crochet, whatever. It takes you seconds to learn how to do it. And but I didn't really have, I had like one crochet hook. I don't know. I have some random crochet hooks lying around, but I needed to get myself a set. So I got a set from Knit Love Crafts. And what's great about these is these poor hands, man. They've got these soft, squishy, ergonomic handles, which is really nice. It comes with a little sewing kit and a cute case. And I, like many other knitters, I have a lot of scraps lying around. And I've had this, you know, I have bigger partial balls in storage, but then I've been kind of shoving. Now it looks like some of these are a little bit big because I'm using them and I'm culled them from my other storage. But a lot of this had balls about this size in it. Okay. In this jar, I just been throwing them in here, and I really wanted to make a scrappy blanket, so I started making granny squares. And I didn't know how. I have a crochet book somewhere lying around. I like videos, and so I Googled how to make a granny square on YouTube, and the first video was not nearly explicit and slow enough for me. So I found Jada in Stitches. She's kooky, she's funny, and she is very deliberate and slow. And so I'm making granny squares with my scraps. Aren't they? What's really fun about this, some of this is my hand-dyed, like that's my hand-dyed yarn right there, that green. And this brown on the outside is. So what I love about this is that I'm such a color and texture person. This pinky red is my hand-dyed yarn too. This is the green from the sweater. And this purple is my hand-dyed yarn. I know what all of these yarns went into. I know the projects they went into. And I know a lot of, you know, the names of the yarn. Like this, these two yarns are in this Niddle Chick, that brown and the blue. And I just love the idea of having a blanket full of memories of projects. So I started making them this size, because that's the size she did in the video. And if you just look up Jada in Stitches Granny Square, you'll find her videos. And then in another video I saw, she had made, I think she was showing you how to make a scrappy blanket, like doubling up your yarns and using even small pieces of yarn. I didn't watch the whole thing, but what I saw her do was what I saw was that she had made a granny square blanket with really large granny squares. And so I took yesterday, I took one of my smaller ones and just started adding to it. And honestly, like, I could barely see the colors I was picking at the end because my husband and I were watching, we are almost done with the Roosevelt's documentary on PBS. So good. So I couldn't really even see that well, and I don't care. They're all going to be together, and it's going to be beautiful. So here is where I am with the most recent one. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make really large squares. I think I'm going to do maybe 3 more colors on this. Isn't that so pretty? And then I'm going to end with a white border because I want them all to have a white border. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a matching white, just like in my swan show. It just has to be cream or white. That way, when I connect them, I can use white yarn and connect them from the front. Because I found another video about connecting your granny squares. This was someone else, and I didn't watch the whole video. I'm not gonna like recommend it yet, but she did mention that if you connect them you can connect from the front or back. And I noticed when she connected from the front, the border around them was just super cool. So that's what I want to do, but to connect it from the front and have it look like that, you need to use the same color around each square. So I'm really excited. This is like 2 yarns held double, and the white yarn in that is this Green Mountain Spinner yarn. yeah, I'm just really, really loving it, and I'm really excited. And it's not going to be like crazy warm. Well, it will be warm, but it's got all these holes in it. So I just think it's, I don't know, it's going to be cozy and floppy and beautiful. And I'm excited. So that is my other work in progress. I'm not rushing this, but there are days when I pick it up and I just have so much fun. And I have to look at it more than I have to look at doing just like straight knit stitch or stockinette on a project, but I don't have to look at it so much that I can't enjoy watching something. So there we go. I don't have a whole lot more to talk about knit-wise. I did place the order for my crochet hooks, and at the same time I ordered some yarn because it was on sale. And I ordered more sock yarn in like tweedy colors. So I got Regia, Schockenmeyer Regia tweed, like this gray tweed and a brown tweed. Because I think I might just want some plain socks at some point, she says. I have so much sock yarn. It's okay. It was on sale. Oh, and because I had seen... So this is fingering weight. This is sock yarn. So it's sock weight, which is whatever. It's close to fingering weight. And if you hold like a solid double with a stripe, it can make it look really cool. So that's my other plan for this. It might be that I make some solid color socks with this, and that I also hold a double with another fingering weight stripey yarn to make a DK weight quicker to knit up sock. And then I got some silk hair, Super Kid mohair in pink, because I love mohair, and there are a few patterns that I'm interested in that have some mohair in them. One of them being, let's see if I can find this. Oh, yeah. It's the other thing I got from the local yarn shop is the Pom Pom Quarterly Spring 2020. This sweater. See that? See that sweater? Mohair stripes, lace stripes. I thought that was so pretty. I think it's a Joji Locatelli pattern. Anyway, this is a really beautiful magazine with lots of beautiful patterns in it, and I saw that one and thought, okay, that's cool. This was on sale. If I don't use it for this, I'll use it for something else, because there are lots of patterns with mohair that I'm interested in. But that one. And I like that it's got lace, but it's not all lace. You got your lace and then you have a break, and then you got your lace, because I don't really love knitting lace. Okay. So there's not much more to talk about. I think in terms of knitting, I'm done. There are projects that I'm looking forward to doing, but I have to say I just need to get the Corellia colorwork done. Get onto the stockinette before I start anything new. It's always such a balance between like starting new projects for me, the stress of having too many things on the needles, and then the stress of not having enough on the needles. It's like a real balance, a real balancing act. I feel like I could start another pair of socks and I'd be okay, even without finishing those. But I do want to finish the shorties. I could finish them today. I'm just kind of bored with them. The chickens are good. My son and I finished. So knitting content is done if you're not interested in talking about chickens at all. My son and I finished the teenage coop, which is just a small, movable chicken coop for the chicks who are quickly becoming pullets. I don't know when they technically become pullets or teens. They're not quite there yet, I don't think, but they're getting pretty big. And it's really just a way to help introduce them gradually to the main flock, because if you just throw them in there, which I'm sure people do, it can be a bloodbath. I get really stressed when my chickens fight. Not when they just peck at each other a little bit here and there, which happens every day, but when they're really mad at each other, like it's as stressful as when my kids fight. I'm serious. Like the last time I put two flocks together, I would sometimes have to just have a cocktail before going outside and putting them together. I needed moral support from like my mom on a daily basis. So I've got 5 chicks, and they're getting pretty big, and they're close to fully feathered, I would say. And so they are ready to sleep outside in this little coop that is made of scrap wood that my son and I made. And the roof is not watertight. So the goal was to make something without buying any materials. And so far I have purchased 2 hinges for $3. And I am going to try and figure out what to do with the roof. I don't want to throw a tarp on it. I want it to look okay, and I don't want it to look messy, and I want it to work well. And I'm hoping the hardware store has some scrap roofing I can use. And I'm hoping to do that this weekend. They are pretty darn cute. I think I have 2 roosters. It makes me very sad because I can't have roosters in town. I got this group of chicks. Sometimes some breeds are sexed. I think it's called sex-linked. I'm not really sure, but they can tell what gender the chicks are. And then if you order them from a company and they get shipped to you, they can give you a certain kind of guarantee that you'll get a certain gender. I don't know how they know. I don't think it's 100%, but we got these chicks. A friend and I got a bunch of chicks from a farmer, and which I kind of like doing more anyway, because when you get the chicks shipped, it can be hard on them, and I lost one like in the shipping process last time. But it's a gamble. So what to do with the roosters? Of course, I'm going to try to home them. I am someone who is not vegetarian, but I do want the meat I eat to be treated humanely while it is a living animal. That said, I'm really love all my chicks and like to eat their eggs, but I don't want to eat them. So I have, I think, 2 roosters because their combs are so much bigger, and I think I'm going to try to home them. They are black copper marins, so they're a beautiful, beautiful, rare French breed. It's still pretty rare in our country, even though they're getting more popular. They lay chocolate brown eggs. Not the roosters, the hens. So maybe someone will want to take them. If not, my friend said he would take them. Any roosters I have, but they would probably turn out to be chicken soup. And I have to say that when I go out and hang out with them outside, this one rooster hops up on my lap, just hops on my lap and sits on me and loves me. And I love him. So, I don't know. The life of a farm girl. My friend was telling me that there's an operation you can do. It's called capinizing a rooster, which basically it's like neutering, maybe. Do you neuter a male or spay a male? I always get that wrong. And it kind of mellows them out and makes them act like hens. The problem with having a rooster in town is that they're very loud. The problem with having a rooster in any place is that they're often really mean and rapey. Like, they're mean. Often. Not always. But they basically walk around and rape the hens all day. And sometimes attack anyone who comes near them. Now, there are reasons to have roosters. They can be very protective. They can help find food and, like, offer it up to the ladies. But I don't I think that's a guarantee. My hope was that they would turn out to be so mean that I wouldn't mind giving them away to become chicken soup. But at least if they become chicken soup, they're feeding somebody. That's what I tell myself. Anyway, they're a very boisterous, rowdy group of chicks, and I'm enjoying them immensely and trying not to get too down about the possibility that 2 of them are probably going to be chicken soup. I hope if you're vegan or vegetarian, you do not attack me for this, and understand that there are lots of people who eat meat, and I don't eat much of it, and I try to be responsible, and honestly, I probably could avoid it. I was vegetarian for many, many years. I am married to a Texan. So that's that. I hope everyone is well. I am one of the privileged people who still has a job. I'm doing it from home. It's not fun, but it's a job, and I'm getting a paycheck. And I'm not Black. So there's that. Meaning, I have to make it clear, right? Meaning that the population of people who are dying from this are mostly Black people, which is disgusting. So I realize I'm really lucky. And even though I'm really lucky for so many reasons right now, I still find it stressful. So that just makes me think of the people who are not so lucky and what a hellish time this is for them. So I'll just say again, I hope you are well. I hope your family is well and your friends are well. I hope you are finding comfort in knitting or crochet or creating of some kind. And I hope that my ramblings gave you some joy today. And I will stop rambling now. Bye.